Hey, house groups. Now, first off, I owe an apology and maybe some kind of a snack or something to my good friends in the Yorba Linda house group. And Yorba Linda, you already know why, right? You know why I owe you an apology. Last week, I named off all the house groups by memory, and I accidentally forgot to say one of the house groups, Yorba Linda. And I immediately got texts calling me out. I'm sorry, I did forget one. Now, luckily, it was the worst house group. No, I'm kidding. The best, it was, you shouldn't forget any house group, my fault. So I deserve that, and I'm sorry. Yorba Linda house group, please forgive me. I love you all. Now, back to this 3-week series that we're finishing up called Help Me, I'm Human. We've been talking about friendships, but I want to be clear about one thing. This has not been our attempt to do Scott and Landon's good ideas about friendships. Nope, not at all. Not at all. Instead, we've been looking at the written words that God Himself preserved for thousands of years to guide us in our friendships. And today, we're talking about the toughest topic so far. And so we're going to get wisdom from the master teacher, the smartest teacher ever, and that's Jesus Himself. And I can't emphasize this enough. Jesus was actually God in a human body. And the words that He spoke, they blew people's minds. And that's mostly because people found them to be so true and to be so helpful. And this week, right now, we're talking about what I'm going to call friendship fails. I'm not talking about like when a friendship fades out, like maybe some of your middle school buddies that you don't hang out with quite as much. Now new friendships have appeared. I'm not saying that, that's a drag sometimes, middle school friendships fading out, but a lot of times that's kind of normal as you get older. But I'm talking about something different. I'm talking about sometimes how friendships have a fail moment. Something happens. You've ever heard the term falling out before? Like you and a friend have a falling out. Maybe you do something that ticks off your friend and they just walk away. Or maybe they do something that just wasn't right. You trusted them with something private and they told. Or they humiliated you in front of a bunch of people just to get a laugh and it wasn't cool. Or who knows? You could probably think of other examples. Sometimes it's different for guys and girls. Guys, when something happens like that, you might just punch your friend and call him an idiot. And maybe not admit that it actually hurt somewhere inside. Now, girls, when a falling out happens for you, you might experience a little bit more drama than punching. But who knows? There might be punching too. I don't know. Either way, there's a good chance that you've experienced a falling out with one of your friends. And when that happens, if you do nothing about it, there's a good possibility that that could turn into a friendship fail. But it doesn't have to.
I never know what to do, like when we're supposed to do the transitions thing. Like, do you just start talking? Do you introduce yourself? Hey, everybody, it's me again. I don't know. So I'm just gonna, I guess I'll just do it. Okay, so what do we do when friendships fail? And let's be real, it's gonna happen. We've all experienced that. And fortunately, there's a verse in the book of Matthew where Jesus talks about how to handle friendship fallouts. It's a super helpful verse. It's really clear and practical. And Jesus lays out a template for restoration, for the healing of a relationship. But sadly, it's really often overlooked. Okay, so are you ready to hear it? I know you are. All right, here we go. Jesus says this: if another believer sins against you, go privately and point out the offense. And if the other person listens and confesses it, you have won that person back. All right, so we're going to cover 3 truths that Jesus lays out and Matthew writes down for us that can help us on the road to friendship repair. All right, number 1, it's really simple, 2 letters, G-O, go. Okay, first it says, if another believer sins against you, which, by the way, translation, if someone who knows Jesus wrongs you, right? That's what that means. But the good news is this isn't just restricted to like the Christian club. This practice works with people who don't know Jesus too, which highlights that God isn't pumped when people are at conflict because He loves human beings and you're a human, so He loves you and the person you're in a fight with. So when you're in a fight with a friend, if someone sins against you, right, that's what Jesus is saying, and it's going to happen, it says go. Meaning if your first thought when you get mad at someone or someone hurts you, and I know there's people listening to this that this is your first thought, is to shrink back or run away or write them off forever or start little secret huddles where you talk about them behind their back. That's not honoring to God. Matthew says, if you want to fix a friendship, go now. Not right now, like not tomorrow, not next week. And here's why that matters, y'all. It's not because God is sitting up in heaven with a stopwatch saying, oh man, Charlie really dissed Mike. Like, wonder how long it's going to take him to go. No. That's not it at all. It's this simple, because when you care about someone, you want the least amount of time possible when you're at odds with somebody. Think about it this way. Pretend that for every second you and a friend are mad at each other, a brick gets placed between the two of you. Okay, it's not a big deal at first. But if you keep distant, if the anger remains, those bricks start to stack up. And before too long, a wall is built between you and a friend. And it's a lot easier to meet with a friend, to go right now, than it is to break down a wall that's built over time. And just real quick note, okay? In person is always best. Like, I love phones. I'm excited as anybody to get the new iPhone. But texting somebody or DMing someone is never a great way to deal with a friendship fail. All right, call if you must, but it is better to see their face. Hearing them matters. So step one, go. Scott?
Hey, I totally agree with Landon. In person is always best to deal with a friendship fail. Sure, you can text them and say, hey, can we talk? But then don't get sucked into talking it through over text. You and I both know that texts are so easy to misinterpret. Someone texts something, you're like, oh, I can't believe they said that, but that's not what they meant. But I also want to highlight the word that Jesus uses right after he says that you should go. That next word is go privately. Go privately. Don't bring it up at the lunch table with other people there and saying, you'll never believe what this fool did to me last week. Don't bring it up while you're all hanging out somewhere thinking that maybe if you can get everyone on your side, you'll have a better chance to convince the person that they did wrong. No. Go privately. Now, why? Why is that important? I'll tell you this. I think friendship fails are way easier to own without an audience. Let me say that again. Friendship fails are easier to own without an audience. So go privately and be bold, but be kind. Tell them you want to talk about something that's kind of difficult, just you and them. And you want to do it one-on-one. Most people are going to respect that, and it's going to go a lot further if you do it privately.
So we've talked about what you do when you're in conflict. Step one, you go, okay? And you go now. Second, you go alone, or at least at first, right? And the third one is, and this is really crucial, you go to repair the friendship. Okay, your motive matters. You're not going so that you can prove that you are right. You're going to repair. Jesus calls it, ironically, winning that person back. And real quick, if you read that and think, I like the word win, because when I get into a conflict, I want to win. Okay, look, I like to win, but the goal is not to win arguments. You are not a lawyer. If your goal is to win, you have misheard what Jesus is saying. Jesus means to win someone back. It's reconciliation. It's a repaired relationship. Okay, the goal, the win, is reconciliation, to fix a fail. And when we go, we all need to check the spirit or our motive of why we're going to someone. Okay, here's what I mean. If it's something that you did, like if you're the person that wronged them, your goal in going is very simple. You're apologizing. That's it. Not to over-explain. That complicates things. It can make it hard for your friend to truly understand you. You're not trying to justify. Oh, and by the way, it's also not a half-hearted, yeah, I guess I was wrong. No, that's lame. A hollow apology is not an apology. So you go to apologize. You own it. Okay, you act sincerely and you repair that relationship. And on the other side, if someone has wronged you, if it's something they did, should you go determined to tell them how mean they are, to whine and complain, to show them why they're a jerk, to snap a pic so you can put it on Snapchat to show the world that you're the bigger person? No, that's not it either. Look, when we're vulnerable enough to have a conversation with someone who has wronged us, it actually gives you strength. Because it takes a Christ-like level of humility and transparency to say, hey, That hurt. But even then, I still love you. I still care about you. I forgive you. And sometimes it's awkward or it's hard, but reconciliation is so powerful. So look, where do we go from here? And what does this look like as a high school student in 2021? There's actually a great example of two students in our ministry today, and Scott is going to close with the story.
Okay, now to finish up, I want to tell you about a couple of friends I met not that long ago, and they're actually from the Orange Villa Park house group. I see you guys out there. And they gave me permission to share this. So this is a photo of McKenna and Addie, and I'll show you a better picture in a minute. McKenna's gonna hate me for using this one because her eyes are closed, but I kind of like that the imagery of them standing back to back because it sort of represents where their friendship was, but without the smiles on their faces. You see, they were just starting to get to know each other, but then somehow, some way, some rumors started. I hate rumors. Don't you hate rumors? Somebody said something untrue, not just about one of them, but about both of them. Before they knew it, they never even really knew each other that well, but they decided they didn't like each other. In fact, they kind of hated each other. And it was kind of like the friendship was done before it ever really had a chance to go anywhere. Now they saw each other, but they did not like to be around each other. But after a while, McKenna decided to reach out. And I can't say this for sure, but I think it was God tapping her on the shoulder. It started with a text. She said, I think we got off on the wrong foot with each other. Can we talk? Now, Addie didn't reply right away. She had some other really hard stuff going on. But Addie said she couldn't stop thinking about the friendship or about that text. And so a few weeks later, Addie reached back out to McKenna and she said, hey, sorry for not replying. Could we still talk to each other? Now, was it awkward? Kinda. Was there a script to follow? No, no way. But to hear them tell about it, they said, we ended up both apologizing for some stuff and we decided to start over. Now you see that? That's important. They both apologized, both of them. In most situations that I've seen, very seldom is a friendship fail 100% one person's fault. Often we both have something to say that we're sorry for. Now the next thing you know, they end up in the same first period class at school, sitting right next to each other. And what could have been totally awkward actually turned out to be awesome. You see, these two are super close friends now. In fact, the whole reason I heard the story of their friendship was because when one of them brought the other one to house group, they seemed like they were longtime friends. And I said something like, man, you guys seem like you're tight friends. How long have you known each other? Thinking that they would say they known each other like since elementary school. And they looked at each other and they said, oh, now that's a story. Now, friends, I've got to tell you this. Jesus' wisdom is a bullseye. His counsel is genius. Does that mean that every friendship fail gets healed up? Well, that depends. It always takes two people who are willing to be honest and willing to be humble. But like it's written in the book of Romans in the Bible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. You don't want to be the one responsible for a friendship fail if you can help it. Now, I want you to pause for a second. I want you to think about some of your friendships. Is there any friend out there who you've had a falling out with recently? Maybe even a small one, but maybe a bigger one. Here's your choice. You could just write that off forever and say, nope, never being friends again. But Jesus says you don't have to let a fallout become a friendship fail. Go to that person and try to work it out. It actually can make your friendship stronger. Now, before we finish up, I want to give you a chance to just kind of like mentally scan your friendships. Do it right now. Is there one that God might want to bring to your mind? Maybe one where there's been a little bit of a fallout? Think on it for a minute right now. Would it be hard to humbly go to that person and to say that you'd kind of like to work at repairing that friendship? It'd probably be hard, but it could be worth it. Absolutely, it could be worth it. Just ask Addie and McKenna. They would tell you 100% it's worth it. That's all we got for today, but hey, you're about to go to a small group, and I hope that you have some great conversation. I really do. And remember, next week is Together Night. Every campus is doing a fallish theme, pumpkin spicy stuff, and a whole lot more that you won't want to miss. Bring a new friend with you, bring a friend, bring some flannel, and you'll both get a Starbucks gift card so that you can get coffee afterwards and talk. If you bring a new friend, you and them get Starbucks. That's not bad. Hey, we love you guys. We really love you. We're not just saying that. Have a great small group conversation, and we'll see you next week.